Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Mariam, this guide, your emotional wellness guide. Every Friday, giving you the things that money cannot buy, but which makes life worth living, your emotions. This channel is particularly to take care of your emotional wellness. We are an emotional wellness channel as well as a relationship channel. Something to make you feel good, something to make you feel life is worth living. That's what we give you here every Friday. And then Monday, we give you 7 minutes of inspiration, things to raise your mind by raising your frequency through the things we teach you, through the information, the videos we give you. In only 7 minutes of your time, you can consume for the week just to make your week go well. So, Mariam Naguja, I'm a relationship coach, I'm a counselor, psychologist, and life coach, and author of 3 amazing books. The fourth one is coming soon. Um, a bit delayed, but I told you 4 years. It takes me 4 years to produce just one copy of a book because whatever we produce has to be forever. The ladies' guide books are forever. We don't write for 1 year, 2 years. Even after 10 years, 20 years from now, we want this to be relevant content for our readers. So, ladies' guide to fulfill relationships and happiness is our first copy of the book, which talks about basically women understanding men pertaining relationships and the mistakes we make when it comes to relating with the opposite sex. Then, which is followed with emotional happiness. The Ladies' Guide to Emotional Happiness is our book too, giving you those little tips every woman needs to be emotionally well. Don't forget, ladies, we live in the heart. We are mostly emotional beings because we feel a lot. If you don't take care of your emotional wellness, it can sabotage your happiness in life. So, Emotional Happiness as a book is written to elevate your emotional wellness, to elevate your emotional, to avoid confusion, drain, anything concerned with emotional something. Find it in the Ladies' Guide to Emotional Happiness. And last, we have the Ladies' Guide Journal, an interactive tool for you to interact with yourself, to interact with yourself on things you can't explain to anyone. There's a level of life where a woman reaches when you don't need to talk, because talking is draining. And then when you talk and explain, many people don't understand you. Rather than verbalizing your experiences, your relationships, your marriage, your everything, we advise as psychologists people to use journals. In social psychology, we know there's no any other healing tool better than a journal, because when you use pen and paper, a brain and the hand can communicate better than the mouth. Okay, so every time you see that you're in emotional turmoil, your emotional confusion, something is happening you can't explain, things are running many in your mind, the tape, the mind is like a tape. If you're not organized, it's disorganized. So the journal is an interactive tool that was given to you and that is given to you to write your thoughts down and to heal within self without explaining yourself to anyone. So those are 3 books we have. Where can you find them? All bookshops in your major district areas. If you're in Uganda, if you're in the diaspora, UAE, UK, and the USA, we have different ambassadors in different countries. You just go to my inbox, you'll be receiving the number of a person who you can talk to get the book delivered to wherever you are, as long as you pay transportation cost. We want to move to Amazon, but we had delayed that because we wanted to go Amazon when all the series are over, because this guy is supposed to be in 4 series: 1, 2, 3, and 4. Lastly, the fourth one is A Beautiful Woman's Life, which is going to be one of the hits and the bestseller very soon. So we are closing down the year. Yes, this is the month of October. Thank you so much for being with us through the year. The channel has grown. We are now in 5,000 plus women. You can imagine 5,000, and they're all active. You see, there is something building a channel, but when people are not even active. But many of my students are active. They are writing me letters, they're writing me emails. Many of them are getting married. Everyone is giving me thank you notes. They are inviting me. Those who I can attend, I can attend. Those I can contribute, I can contribute. But the truth is, the channel has grown amazingly in only 2 years, which means that the next 2 years we shall be in many thousands and thousands of women and ladies on the channel. Our biggest number age bracket is 25 to 38. because I can look at the analytics of our YouTube studio. They can give you the age over the many viewers you have and the fewer viewers. So the channel runs between 18 to particularly 50 years of age. So I can see whoever is watching, wherever you're watching from. The countries that enjoy our sessions is Germany, we have the USA, we have the UK, we have UAE is the biggest number. We have Uganda, we have Kenya, we have now we have got even South Africa. We've gotten I've seen Malaysia also joining on board. So it means that the channel is making a lot of impact on people's life. Just to remind you that the Ladies Guide project is forever. Whether I live or I don't, it is a continuation of different series because it is mostly people channel where everyone must find answers. It is not for entertainment. Anyone who needs comedy entertainment, please try other channels. This is purely an entertainment channel. We educate and we entertain. Okay? Mostly we educate on those things you didn't find in the university and which you need to know about life. Yes, previously, last week, that was Friday, we uploaded a video on bad guys. Yeah, bad guys, because every session I give you comes from either an email or multiple emails or messages that come into my inbox when they're talking about the same thing. Every time people talk about the same thing, then it's a problem in society, and that's where we come in to educate you about that particular problem. So, if you missed, we had a detailed discussion on the 4 strategies on how to stop dating bad guys. How do you stop? Those are the 4 strategies we gave you. If you missed, we talked about these 4 strategies in depth, reminding you that when you are in dating and in a relationship with a bad guy, it's very hard for you to move away. It is better to study all these signals before you get deeper involved in committed relationship with those people. Don't forget that in psychiatry or in psychiatric hospitals, many people who are our patients suffer emotional issues. When something gets emotional, it goes to the brain. It becomes psychological. And when it comes to a psychological damage, it's very difficult for you to heal. Then you have to come to therapists. Then you have to go in narcissistic abuse recovery because you are now a narcissistic victim who was in a narcissistic relationship. So to avoid all that, these are the key precursors you have to look at before you get deeper involved in different romantic relationships. Just to remind you, love is the cornerstone of this world. What you will be, who you will become, where you live, what is going to manifest in your life may come from the person you chose pertaining the love matter. That's why we are very relevant to bring you this content for you not to make those mistakes. The mistakes we made, you don't need to make because experience, you learn it from others. You don't need to learn it from yourself. Life is too short to learn from yourself because you're not going to be forever. You can't live 200 years. So if you have a chance of finding information to use, please do. So these 4 strategies we talked about: understanding narcissism as a character disorder. Yes, narcissism is a character disorder. It's actually a mental disorder. We talked about it in depth. In case you missed all my videos and shows on narcissism, just type my names against narcissism. The channel will bring you all this information about narcissistic personalities in love relationships. Number 2, understanding your own attraction process. How do you get attracted to people? Do you like people who are nice looking, flashy? Do you like people who talk a lot? Do you like people who are in hyper places? Your attraction process may be the problem why you land into bad people and bad relationships. Number 3, we say start paying attention to situations and places you meet people. Because where you spend most of your time is where you find your future. Your future is the people you spend with most of the time, in the neighborhood you spend most of the time, in the wherever you spend time, that's where you form relationships for the future. So then pay attention on the places and the situation in which you meet these men. Then lastly, we said if you're really convinced and you've gone through this bad relationship triangle and you're really convinced that you cannot really take it on, we say always cut your losses. Learn to cut your losses early. Do not cling on something which does not work. Like I said, life is too short to waste time in experiences. Because all of us have experienced that. You don't come now with your story. We are used to those stories. Everyone has written about story about narcissism. So there's no story for you to tell us. So better to cut your losses when you say something not going to work. Please tell yourself the truth and then end it earlier, because the more deeper you get into relationships, the more harder it is for you to leave. Mariam, I'm the this guide. So let's dive into this today's session. But before we get into the session, just remind, if you're new to the channel, if it's your very first time to watch us, wherever you're watching from, please subscribe to the channel. Click on the red button below. Like this video in case you find it useful, but as well share with your friends and family, because sharing is caring. Because when you subscribe, we shall be always alerting you every time we have something new, so you don't miss out on this forever content. Next to none. I'm like a Benz. Next to none, because everything we give you is fully researched. We don't talk out of passion or out of inspiration. We talk out of skill. Okay? We skilled it. Many people say relationship can't be taught. You see, it's just you wake up in the morning and you make mistakes. Those are days gone. We are in a networking world. Every information is available to you. It is you to make the judgment call on what works and doesn't work. So you can't say that there is no information. Everything is taught. Everything is an education program. So it's up to the information you consume that is going to grow your life. And that's a personal initiative. Nobody can force you on that. That's why we come to give you this information. Pick what works for you and reject that which does not resonate with your understanding. It's absolutely free. So today, relating on our Friday upload on the bad guys in relationships, we're going to look at the 7 concrete steps for avoiding now. Last week was stopping, you're stopping, but this time we're going to avoid. You see, when it comes to relationships in life, you have to have that detective hat on you to see what works, and then you stop it before you even start. Because prevention is better than cure. When you get a disease, it is difficult for it to heal. But if you had prevented it, you would not even suffer with curing the disease. So is the bad relationships. Most of the time, we get these telltale signs of things and then we overlook them because we don't have the habit of paying attention to details. Paying attention to details, everything in life is serious business. You need to learn to pay attention. Because when you don't pay attention, you pay a bigger price for that carelessness. So when it comes to relationships, we have to look at the steps you have to take to avoid. Like I told you, if you have something very useful, if you have something very important, if you are a gem, if you have something very valuable in the world, you need to hide it if you're to keep it for long. So if you're a beautiful woman, you're a handsome, rich, intelligent man, and you're out there in the market all over, and everyone is looking at you, you become a prey to many predators. So today, let's look at the 7 simple steps you can take to avoid before you get entangled into these love relationships. Remember, when a bad person comes to you, they come with sweet, alluring words, habits, looks, and it is very easy for anyone to overlook what they see because of what we call chemistry. Chemistry or chemical attraction does not lead to long lasting affairs. That's the truth. Because why? Chemistry is biological. This is a play of hormones in the body and emotions. But when it comes to love, it's a spiritual program. It is a highly spiritual program, which means it can even happen where there is no chemistry. If you don't understand how to distinguish these different terms pertaining relationships, you will make mistakes. Like I told you before, if you don't understand these terms, every topic in life has its own terms, jargons. If you come to the technological world, they talk about data, megabytes, gigabytes, or firewall, that is now technology. But when you come to relationships, there are also those technical jargons you have to know. You must understand chemistry, chemical attraction, love, then casual. You must know this language. And that's the reason for us on this journey to give you these things you cannot find in university. No one can ever teach you this. Because social psychology cannot be taught in university. Okay? And even in social psychology, they don't cover so much love. There's a way they even they avoid that. They don't go deeper in that. This is taught by yourself through the research you're going to make because it's a spiritual program. So dating bad men or bad women is not your problem. You're not a bad person. The only step you must take is having that responsibility over your life and the choices you make. Because when you take that responsibility, everybody who comes to play into your life, you take notice on how they come in and how they get out. It is only a careless person with no value who allows and opens their life to everybody. But if you have value, you need to hide it. I always remind you, if you're a very beautiful woman, if you're a very rich man, if you're very successful, you don't need to be all over the place. You know? Because that's where you get into these bad kind of entanglements, which are very costly for your life. So then, when you talk about bad relationships, the biggest percentage is narcissism. We have gigolos, we have cheaters, we have liars, we have, players, there's a lot of, you know, people in the dating market. But then, emotional abusers are the worst. Why? Because when something goes emotional and goes into abuse, it becomes a psychological problem. I told you, it goes to the brain. And it cannot get out of the brain until when you go into therapy, deeper therapy, just to remove and delete that psychological problem. So narcissists or narcissism as a character trait is the worst when it comes to emotional abuse because they use emotions, they get into your emotions, they seduce you into an emotional relationship, you get intertwined, and then they break away. Then you run mad. It's so interesting how many of my clients have gone to Tarika. Many of them, someone comes and the last resort is to take them to rehab, just because of marital issues. They mismanage love, you go to rehab. You run mad. You can run mad. Because the moment you start questioning your understanding in spiritual matters, you're a mad person. It is easy. And many people are mad. They don't know. It's only those who take care of themselves and they can know that, oh, I think I'm not okay. One of my clients said she got into issues and then they took her to a mental hospital. Then she read on the signpost that this is a mental hospital. Then he said, okay, so I have a mental problem. She thought in her head. Because the issue is mental problems are the worst. These other things are solvable, but when something goes to the brain, it is very difficult to deal with. It is very difficult to deal with, especially when you're one person. It has to involve a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a counseling, someone to help you understand what's going on because it has created what? Confusion. So then, when you talk about narcissists or narcissism as a character trait, we talk about those bad people who use emotions to sabotage the emotion called love. So let's look at the steps on how to avoid bad guys or bad relationships or narcissistic personalities before you go far. Avoidance is the best. Prevention is better than cure. So if you have a chance of spotting them in the initial stages of interaction, it is very easy for you to do away with it. No matter how a cake is sweet, no matter how a chocolate cake is nice, if you're on a weight loss program, you can do away with the chocolate cake. No matter how it is beautiful to move in a car, if you're on a weight loss program and you want to reduce on your weight, you will walk. If you have health issues, if you have heart issues, if you see that you need health, you take that exchange. So then, even when it comes to relationships which are narcissistic, attractive, and There's that rush of chemistry, but then it is going to land you in a psychiatric hospital. It is a lousy trade-off. So then let's look at the steps one by one, how you're going to deal with it. That this is for those who are in the initial stages. If you're already in it, this cannot work for you. This is when you're in the initial stages of attraction. Then you see this, just stop. That is a chocolate cake, which is going to give you a lot of weight. Step number one, avoid any man, avoid anybody who acts like a narcissist in front of other people. I repeat, avoid any character personality who treats other people in a narcissistic way and they say they love you. Why? If somebody loves you, they can color up every bit of action, every bit of action to make themselves look good. We are all human peacocks. But when someone treats little people as nothing, if they abuse people in the jam, if they behave so funny to other people, workers, and you see those narcissistic personalities, the arrogant, cocky, self-centered, selfish, egotistical, God is gift to the women. If you see those acts in somebody, but then they are good to you, trust your instincts. That is a narcissist. Sooner or later, the relationship won't be so long. They'll treat you the same way. So look at how they treat other people. That's how they'll treat you exactly. So step number one, look at how a man treats other people. When you're in the job, do they abuse someone, bypassing? That is who they are. So this love thing of carrying an image of love back to you is because they want to manipulate something out of you. But after when they get it, they will treat you the same way. Hope I'm communicating. Step number two. When you are in dating relationships, focus on friendship first. Let no one ever rush into a love affair before it becomes a friendship affair. Why? When you become friends and you understand and you read somebody in their characters, you can make a judgment call not to transform this into the next phase of a relationship called love. So then, focus on friendship. Don't focus on falling in love first. And also, change your dating strategy. Date friends of friends. If I have a friend, date my friend, because I become like the referee of the relationship. Stop going to dating sites and looking at people you don't even have, and the dating site is there, is your referral. Facebook is your referral. WhatsApp is your referral. It gets harder for such relationships to thrive than those where you pick from friends. So learn to pick relationships from friends of friends. In other words, be in networks. Be in networks. Because a friend who is favoring a friend lover, that's how it works. It's a networking thing. Number 3. Do not mistake chemical reaction or chemical attraction for love. I'll repeat. Do not mistake chemical attraction for love. What do I mean? When you meet somebody, you get that butterfly kind of feeling in the stomach. They excite you. Then you feel so excited. Then you fall in love. That's why many people think in the initial stage of their attraction, it was love. It wasn't. It was chemistry. Chemistry, no emotional connection. Those are all possibilities. I told you love is spiritual. Chemistry is biology. Chemistry, you're dealing with emotions. I mean hormones. Serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins. Yeah? I mean, all those happy hormones come when you see this person. But that may not be love, because love is a spiritual element. The question is it love or is it chemistry? When it's chemistry, it becomes a chemical reaction. So then, focus on the spiritual aspect of your relationship life than the chemistry. Because, like you learned, chemistry is a biological aspect and it can easily fade away anytime soon. So many people end in bad relationships because they were motivated by chemistry. We have chemistry. I feel chemistry. We have chemistry. Chemistry cannot amount to long-lasting relationship most of the time because it will fade. When somebody gets obese, when somebody changes in looks, the chemistry may not exist. So then let's focus now on love, not on chemical reaction. That is our step number 3. So step number 4, don't focus on initial looks. Don't focus on initial looks means most of the time people focus on looks. Reason, look, everyone wants looks. They want a nice looking guy, a nice looking girl. However, if you're beyond the age of 20, if you're ahead of 21, stop focusing on looks because looks lie. When you get closer to this person and see what they do and their actions, the initial attraction of looks fades away. Nice guys are not attractive in looks in the beginning, but when you get to know them better and the way they treat you, somebody becomes actually nice looking. Narcissistic personalities are attractive in the initial stages, but when you get closer to them and you see the way they act and the way they treat relationships, they become unattractive. So then focus not on looks. Okay? If you're ahead of if you're above 20 years, stop focusing on looks. If you're in 20 years, you can have that fantasy. Who didn't want a nice looking man in 20s? But when you start paying bills, when you start being the responsible lady, you need more than looks. So if you want to stop dating bad guys, I would request don't focus on initial looks and go for more beautiful content. Go for content because men who are interested in marrying and who are interested in relationships, they're not even on social media. They don't even watch these videos and what and they're not on TikTok, because they want to concentrate. But if you have a guy who is there on social media, who knows every tweet, every zone, every that's a young boy. That's a young boy. It's not a man. So that is our step number 4. We shall continue from here next week because it's quite longer, and I want to rush through everything. Let's start from here next week as we start with our step number 5 for avoiding bad relationships. Mariam, this guide, you follow this guide. I'll give you all good things that might be bad, but which makes life worth living. Your emotions. See you again next week. Bye.